What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Before I get into this video, I want to remind you guys, as always, if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed to Too Raw for TV, please subscribe to Too Raw for TV. If you haven't hit the notification bell, please hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified of any and every video that drops on my channel. And if you like or at least appreciate the content on my channel, please hit that like button. These are things that help not only my channel, but other channels in the LDBC that you're subscribed to if you do the same things. And this will make the LDBC, the Lions Den basketball community, that much stronger. If you choose to as well, you can support Too Raw for TV via the PayPal or the Cash App. I'd like to thank everybody that has donated to my channel. I'd like to thank Jason for his donation to the channel yesterday. Thank you, Jason, for your donation, man. Thank you a lot. And thank all you guys. And if you want to support me on Patreon for only $2 per month, you can do so as well. I'd like to thank everybody that signed up on the Patreon. And of course, that's an alternative form other than YouTube. So you can talk about stuff on, I can talk about stuff on the Patreon I can't talk about on YouTube. Social issues, politics, controversial topics, whatever. All right. Now, think I'm scared? Oh, you thought I won't go make a video, right? Thought I won't go make a video about it and I'm gonna run away from it. Nah. James Harden did his thing last night. He got off. He got off. You know, I'm not gonna nitpick about the fact that he still missed 14 out of 26 shots. But he got off. You know, the Rockets won by a final score of 102-93. They didn't have Eric Gordon. Russell Westbrook shot like shit. So James Harden took over. The Clippers, who have been noted for their defense, did not look like a great defensive team last night. You know, Patrick Beverley got burned, and Russell Westbrook made light of that, saying that Patrick Beverley is overrated. You know, and this is my thing. All right, where should I begin? Let me begin on that note about Patrick Beverley being overrated on defense. Every great defensive player has gotten lit up. Okay? Just like every great rebounder has been out rebounded by someone, every great shot blocker has been dunked on, especially if you're a guy who goes for every block. If you're a guy who, let me make a point right here. If you're a selective defensive player, like you only play against guys who you think aren't very good offensively, then 95% of the time, you're going to look like a lockdown defender. See, Bruce Bowen used to give Kobe Bryant fits in his prime. But there were some games when Kobe went off for 40, 45 against Bruce Bowen, but he usually had to take more shots, and his shooting percentage were down, and it was harder for him to get his points off because Bruce Bowen was a great defensive player. But Bruce Bowen got lit up sometimes. Now, you got to remember, in this era, you can't use your hands. You can't be physical with guys. You got to use your feet. You got to use your quickness, your lateral ability. So defensive players are more handcuffed than ever. Plus, with James Harden, if he gets into his step back, you kind of really aren't able to play much defense on him. Plus, he gets gifted 16, 17 free throws a game. Something we haven't seen since the likes of Wilt Chamberlain. So if you're getting 35% of your points, if you're getting 35% of your points from free throws, and you're getting to the line 17 times, and you're a 90+% free throw shooter, plus you're taking 15 threes a game, if you have a game where everything is rolling, of course you're going to score 40 points. As James Harden scored 47 points tonight. Well, last night. A broken clock is right twice a day, right? So I'll throw James Harden a bone. He had a great offensive night. They needed it. But every great defensive player has been lit up. Gary Payton did a phenomenal job on Michael Jordan in the 1996 NBA Finals, holding Jordan to 27 points. For Jordan, that's very pedestrian. 27 points in the series, shot only 41% for the series. Um, Especially after they made the switch. I think after Game 3, they put Peyton on Jordan, and the Bulls lost 2 straight games. And in Game 6, the closeout game, Jordan only shot, if I remember correctly, I think he shot only 5 of 19 from the floor. So he did an excellent job on Michael Jordan. But I also can remember a regular season game the very next season, the first game that they played against each other, because people have been saying so much about how Gary Payton was a Jordan stopper and Gary Payton shut Jordan down. And there was a game in Seattle. This is when it was still the Sonics, of course. And Jordan scored 45 points on 19 of 28 shooting from the floor. And he was just pulling up from everywhere on the court. It got to the point where he was pulling up and turning to go back on defense before the ball even went through the net. And the team made a concerted effort to deny Jordan the ball the last 5 minutes of the game to prevent him from scoring 50 points. I vividly remember that game. I think it might have been February the 19th, 1997 or something like that. I know it was February of 1997. How I remember this shit, I don't know. But that's just an example I'm talking about. Scottie Pippen was a great defensive player, right? We all know that. He's probably the GOAT small forward. But Larry Bird had some really good games against him. A great player, a great scorer, is going to get off. A great scorer, you can only contain a great score. A great player in this league, you really can't stop them. You can only try to contain them and hope that they're off. That's just how that is. Um, Shaquille O'Neal. Now I don't want to compare Shaq to James Harden because Shaq is the second most dominant player in the history of the NBA, in my opinion, behind Wilt Chamberlain. But Shaquille O'Neal could not really be stopped. Um, the only way you could try to stop Shaq is to really deny him the basketball. That's the best strategy. Okay, but yeah. Now that I got that point out the way, the Rockets look good last night. But you know what? Let's keep the same energy that you guys always tell me when the Lakers lose a game or LeBron had an off game. Hey man, it's just one game. It's an 82 game schedule. Don't make a determination until halfway through the season. Even though I wasn't doing that, I was going through the fact that we've gone through a tenth of the season and making you know a judgment based on what I'm seeing. But let's keep that same energy. Let's not all of a sudden just say, "Oh man, the Houston Rockets, they're going to win the title because of one regular season game." Like Town Biz says, "Big regular season game, James." That's a good nickname for James Harden. you know, I still feel that this style of basketball that they play, when a team is going up against a certain team in the playoffs, right? And you start becoming familiar with certain schemes and things that they're doing, you get it's easier to game plan certain shit. All right. Um, my thing with James Harden is he's a phenomenal offensive player. Although I detest and despise the way that he gets his points, I think he's cheap, and he really manipulates the rules to get to the foul line. All right, he is a real life 2K basketball player. He's the reason why, in my opinion, he scores so many points is because He's not only a volume scorer, but he takes more threes than anybody, including Steph Curry, even though he's not the marksman that Curry is. And he manipulates the rules to get the foul line. So you already got a guy that takes a lot of shots. So that's a lot of points, but usually a lower field goal percentage. Then you have a guy that takes a lot of threes. So if you're taking 15 to 20 threes and you're making 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 threes, that's how many extra points is that? Then you got a guy that gets the foul line at a historic rate because he manipulates the rules to his advantage. Of course you're going to score a lot of points. Of course. Of course. But see, this dude, you know, if he gets the foul line like that, could you imagine, say, I'm not even going to use Mike. Could you imagine Kobe playing in this league and he kind of wanted to just play for individual stats, and he wanted to manipulate the rules or, to get to the foul line that much and do cheap shit? I could see Kobe. Kobe could easily average 40, well over 40. Mike could do the same thing. The thing about it is, this shit is not successful in the postseason. Nothing that he does in the regular season is going to convince me that a Mike D'Antoni led team is going to win a championship. James Harden is not going to win a championship this year, and we all know it. So Anthony Celestin, have your moment. You know what I'm saying? Cheer for your guy. He had a great game. But this is not going to lead to a title. It's not. As much as I love Russell Westbrook, I'm starting to believe that he's on the downside of his career too. And you have two guys who are volume scorers who need the basketball in their hands a lot. And right now, it's like not Paul George. I'm thinking about that shit. Russell Westbrook has decided to take the back seat and let James Harden pretty much do his thing. And I commend Russell Westbrook for doing that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people always say that Russell's this selfish guy, but this shit is just not going to be successful, man. But also, as far as Kawhi Leonard's concerned, he had a pretty good game until the fourth quarter. But Kawhi Leonard is not perfect. He's still the best player in the league. And if you ask me who I would rather have on my team, it's going to be Kawhi Leonard. You know, I hate to keep bringing up, certain guys, but I remember one time Gilbert Arenas threw 60 at Kobe at the Lakers. And everybody was marveling at Gilbert Arenas and how he, lit up Kobe and all that, even though Kobe had 45 in that game. The next time they matched up with each other, the Lakers held Gilbert Arenas to something like 8 of 30 shooting. He had 8 points, but he got most of them from the foul line. Sort of like a certain guy that's, everybody's marveling at right now. And the thing about it is, it's like I said, it's just one game, man. It's one game. Just trying to, I don't know. It's like, I don't know, man. It's like, if you love James Harden, then you're just like, this is going to be like the peak for you. This is going to be the best thing to happen this season, other than James Harden dropping 50 on the Lakers. Oh man, he had 47 against the Clippers. Okay, all right. I remember when Allen Iverson dropped 44 on the Bulls his rookie year, and people were marveling about that, and that was great. And Allen Iverson was rookie of the year and had a great season, but realistically, we all knew that the Bulls were going to win the title that year, barring injury, and the Sixers weren't going to the playoffs. an individual game gives you bragging rights into the next matchup, the next meeting, but it still doesn't impress me that much. I mean, I don't know. It's like basically I think it's because of the way that James Harden gets his points. It's really cheap and kind of lazy. You know what I'm saying? Like guys like Kobe and Mike, McGrady, they went hard. You know what I'm saying? They had more in their offensive repertoire. They were more spectacular to watch. This guy, he's so, for a guy to score a lot of points, he's so basic. You know, like, I mean, it's even though let me put it like this. There's been great scorers in the history of the NBA. Guys that can put the ball in the basket, man. But there's levels. World B. Free was a great scorer, but nobody would put him on the same level as a Kobe Bryant, a Michael Jordan, you know what I'm saying, a Pete Maravich, a George Gervin. Nobody would put him on that same level. James Harden to me is like, I would put him above World B. Free, but he's kind of like in that realm. He just doesn't, there's nothing about him that makes me go like, man, this is an all-time legend. Nothing. I'm sorry. It just doesn't, I don't know. Nothing about his game wows me. And I'm not being a hater about that. With that, nothing about his game wows me. Anybody that, kind of paraphrase Ticket, if anybody really knows basketball, the history of basketball, will know I'm talking about. There's something about his game that's really cheap. It's really cheap. You know, I don't know, but the Rockets have their moment. You know what I'm saying? And that's that. Kawhi's still better though.